What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel, Extreme Jelly Drivers. Check this out. Oh yes, dude. The garage is empty. Only the Commander is present. And this is really about as far in as I want to bring the Commander these days. Thanks to these top boxes and lights that we have on here. It doesn't really fit in the garage anymore. But awesome news, we're going to be working on the Commander today. That's right, today we're actually going to be installing some recovery shackles that I got here from a fantastic place if you guys aren't familiar with this. The Steel Armadillo, great spot. I've gotten lots of stuff for the Commander from this guy. He makes really, really good parts and he makes a lot of stuff for Commanders. So this is what we're going to be installing today. These are going to be mounted to the front bumper. I have one kind of mocked up here so you kind of get an idea of what it's ultimately going to look like. And I don't know if I'm going to be keeping these gray accents. We'll see once we get it installed. But this is what you get in the kit. You get two mounting blocks. These D-rings are not included. We'll get to those in a second. But you get all the mounting hardware and you get fantastic directions, dude. I mean, these are phenomenal. Pictures and words. Really hard to find these days when it comes to getting, when it comes to instructions. And here's a blowout of kind of how everything gets installed once you get to the front bumper. So yes, we have to remove the front bumper. Instructions are all laid out here in order to do that. And let's talk about the D-rings I got. Got these from Amazon, real popular company there, lots of good reviews. And this is what you get. A pair of these D-rings, they come with the black accents. And like I said, spent like $7 off Amazon to try out the gray. Again, don't know if I like these, but gives you an idea of kind of what you can do with these. You can mix this up, do any kind of color you want. Red, blue, anything, fluorescent green, real popular in the Jeep scene. But yeah, lots of cool kind of variations you can do with this. So like I said, the shackles are actually going to be mounted to the steel kind of bumper behind the plastic cover here on the Jeep. I've never taken this off before. I've read lots of instructions on how to do it. I even have my laptop pulled up over here on good old jeepcommander.com with some instructions outlined. But we're actually going to be doing a lot of modifications to the front end of this car over the next couple of videos because unlike the rear end, which I think looks really good, this front end looks really dated and dorky. So we're going to be updating this guy. We're unfortunately going to be taking this front bumper off a lot in the next couple of videos. So we're going to get really good at it. But today, let's go ahead, pop the hood, and start by removing the grille first. So step one is to remove the 6 push pins on the top here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Come on, buddy. There we go. Easy. Okay, for the next step, it's referencing 2 push pins on each side of the fender. And I'm not exactly sure which ones they're referring to. It appears as though they're talking about, we got one here, we got one here. I opened this little door here for the fog lights to see if I could figure something out, reaching my hand in there. Can't figure anything out, so I'm actually gonna skip this step for now until it becomes clear on exactly what it is I have to remove on the side fender. But the next step after that would be to remove some of these clips. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got this guy here in the middle, 10mm bolt. And then underneath, the directions say there are 3 10mm bolts to remove, but I'm only seeing 2, one here and one here. Things may have changed. This is a 2006, so maybe the later models have a 3rd bolt somewhere in the middle. Now normally on a regular car, I could just use this tool here, grab this and pry this clip out, but I don't know if it's a Jeep thing, if it's just it's been in here for 100 years thing. It appears as though this is supposed to separate from the front. I can't get it to work on any of these tabs, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these and just replace them. All right, I got them off. I just want to show you guys that they are actually supposed to slide apart. You can see here, I got this little top pulled off on this one. I think it's just because they've been in the car for so long. They're in the front of the vehicle and they take a ton of kind of wind, dust, sand, and they just get jammed up. So another thing I want to point out is this guy. This doesn't look like an OEM installation to me, so don't know exactly where he's supposed to go, but it's some sort of sensor or switch or something like that. I'll go ahead and cut these and kind of reinstall it the same way because it didn't have a problem being zip tied here for as long as it has been. All right, so I got all the bolts off and I see our issue here. Do you see these 3 tabs? Yeah, these guys need to be squeezed and pulled off. This is also a really good time to go ahead and disconnect your fog lights. All right, so you want to disconnect those get these 3 tabs off of here, and I think the bumper will come off. Now in the beginning where I was unsure about what you're actually supposed to do with these clips, you do have to remove them. So go ahead and remove these 2 if you haven't already, because the bumper won't come off with these guys installed. All right, man, that wasn't too bad, huh? Thing looks mean without a front bumper, man. I just drive around like this all the time. But anyway, moving along with the install. Next thing we're gonna do, you got a 10mm right here on this little bump stop thing, whatever it is, and 10mm here. We're gonna go ahead and remove that and save those bolts. All right, now it comes time to actually install the Steel Armadillo kit here. You're gonna have a left and a right. Pretty easy to figure out which is which. They can only go on one way. So now that we have those little bump stops removed, we are gonna use those holes down there. Do you see them in there? Yeah, we're gonna use those 2 and this guy. All right, and with this hardware, we're gonna go ahead and mount these guys up. Let me get it figured out and I'll show you how it works. All right, so ran into a slight problem. So these are the holes that we're gonna be using. 1, 2, 3. Here's our plate. If I line this plate up pretty much perfect, you're gonna see that we're off on this 3rd hole here. So that's no problem, super easy to fix. All you gotta do is get yourself one of these step bits, link down in the description. I'm gonna go ahead and open this guy up. May even open this guy up too. I have no issues putting holes in the truck. I'd rather put holes in the truck than holes in my new mount. So that's what I'm gonna do to make this all work. All right, so after some modification, we got this guy on here. Super tight. You wanna make sure you torque these bolts down tight, right? Because we're gonna be pulling all sorts of 4Runners and all sorts of Jeep Wranglers, you know, out of their stuck position. So we want to make sure that our shackles on there super tight. So the way it works is this bolt, all right, he is going to be a bolt and a nut, all right. These 2 bolts, they are going to work with the provided mount. Can you guys see in there? So here's the mount, and it has that little tab on it. So when you put it through the hole, you can kind of move it forward and back with your finger. At least that's what I think. And another cool thing about these shackle mounts is that the bolts really hide up in the fender nicely. So if there was ever an encounter with something like a big rock or something like that, you don't have a big bolt hanging down through your fender to get caught and bend. You just have the kind of low profile bolt heads, and they probably won't get too damaged. So now that we got this shackle on here, we can actually go ahead and reinstall this guy. Snakes through here. Oops, got it backwards, don't I? It's gonna go on like this. And it tucks in there a little bit. And then, boom, put the bolt on. So let me go ahead and finish up this other side, and we can put the bumper back on. All right, I got the bumper slid on. It's not fastened, but give you guys a look as to what do you think of these shackles. I got the D-rings on there. I got one in the gray on the right and one in all black on the left. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a feeling either way. Nothing is jumping out at me as that looks awesome or that looks totally stupid. Let me know what you guys think down below. Here's a good up-close shot of what we're dealing with. And then this guy over here on the driver's side. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you cannot install these D-rings with the bumper fully installed. I have the bumper kind of where it would be if it was fully installed, and you can't really access the bolt. So if you ever wanted to kind of change these up or something like that, you'd have to pull the bumper off in order to do so. So I'm gonna go ahead with the installation. I think we're just gonna stick with all black, and yeah, let's wrap this thing up. All right guys, Jeep's back together. Install went really well. D-rings, super rad. Now we can bail out all of our 4Runner buddies, all of our Jeep Wrangler buddies. We can save them with our superior vehicle. This would be how we would do it in the front. And let me show you what we got going on the back. This is also from Rhino. I'll put a link down in the description for this guy. But you know, we have a hitch on the Commander, so we could pull someone out from the rear. Super solid recovery point. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Super awesome working on the Jeep again. It's been a minute since we've touched this car, but there are tons and tons of things that are gonna be coming up for the Commander in the next couple weeks. I got big plans for this thing, man. We're really just getting started with it. And like I said, this bumper is gonna be coming off like in every video for the next month. So I'm glad I got good at pulling it off because, yeah, man, we're doing fog lights. We're gonna cut this bumper. We're gonna make some accents to the bumper. We're gonna change our grille. We're gonna change our headlights. We're gonna change our taillights. We're gonna do all sorts of cool things to this thing. So stay tuned for that. As always, guys, if you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button. A link for everything down in the description. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Later.